for showing up virtually or in person to our meeting. We will start off with Accentuate the Positive. And since I see Shauna first, I pick you to go first, please.
Good evening, Madam Chair Watson and rest of the board. I'm Shauna. First off, I just want to give a big shout out to my front office staff, Kate Heim and Laura Millette. Right now, our wonderful office manager started this week, but that means we've been without an office manager for quite some time. And so they have been doing an amazing job of just, dealing with the busiest time of any school year with such a lot of effort and grace and humor. And so I just want to give them a major shout out. I also want to thank our staff too, because we have been a little short staffed. They're all just pitching in. When they see a need, they fill it without a lot of fanfare and just with a lot of enthusiasm. So I just want to give a big shout out to all PHS staff. Yesterday, we had an amazing time with our PLCs. So I just want to thank the teachers for their efforts in creating, we're doing this new realignment with our professional learning communities, and there was just a lot of focused attention as we identify our power standards, align our pacing guides, look at common assessments district-wide. So big shout out to my fellow administrators and who've been helping guide that work, but mostly also to the teachers who just are engaged in the process with a lot of enthusiasm and spirit. Things are going really well at Phoenix Elementary. Things like we're settling into our routines. And so it just feels really positive. And yeah, that's it from PES. I will select Kurt.
Thank you, Shauna. Madam Chair Watson, Board, good evening. Kurt Shank, Principal, Orchard Hill Elementary School. I want to start off tonight by thanking those parents who pick up their students after school at Orchard Hill. The first week for pickup, I was really nervous because we were backed up onto Wanaparo a couple times. And I sent out a note requesting parents to kind of come at a different time, especially the intermediate parents to come a little bit later. And they did exactly what I asked. And this week has just been absolutely wonderful, stressless, smooth. And so I really want to give a shout out to those parents and a note of appreciation for them. And then along the lines that Shauna shared about yesterday's Wednesday afternoon, I really want to thank you guys, the board, for supporting the Wednesday early release. If yesterday was any indication about the work that we can do and the direction and path that we can take on and improve at, it's going to be beautiful. Yesterday was inspiring to watch our teachers work and have the time and non-stressed about starting the day. It was just really wonderful to watch. So thank you, board, for that support and improving that decision. So, and then I was kind of thinking the same thing, Sean. I wanted to give a shout out to my esteemed colleagues, Aaron, Shauna, and Heather. The collegial work that we've been doing has just been absolutely wonderful. And I couldn't ask for a better group of people to be working with. And so it's been a lot of fun. Thank you guys for all the work together that we've been doing. And then finally, I know I kind of said something like this last school board meeting, but I want to finish with a heartfelt thank you to all the Orchard Hill Elementary School staff for their flexibility, problem-solving skills, and teamwork. It's just really feels like a dream here. It's been a wonderful start, and people are just doing what they need to do and picking up the pieces and filling in, and so it feels incredibly positive and healthy, and absolutely a joy to work. And I said that last time, but I'm going to say it again. I'll try not saying it at every school board meeting, but I have a feeling I'm going to be feeling this way for the remainder of the year because it's pretty sweet. So that's probably enough. Thank you, Chair Watson. I appreciate it. And I will hand it off to, we'll continue with our elementary principals. And Heather, it's all yours.
Thank you, Kurt. Good evening, Madam Chair Watson and board. Heather Lowe Rogers over at Talent Elementary. I could say ditto to everything those guys just said. I will also share that we have a little bit of an enrollment problem at TES. We're really, really down. And so this week we had to do a little last minute shuffle of staffing. And I just want to thank our teachers for really stepped up and helped problem solve it. So we have our problem solved, and just want to extend my appreciation to their flexibility and their, just their awesome teamwork. Everybody stepped in and said, we can figure this out. And we did. So just thanks to them. I also want to kind of extend a little bit about what Shauna said about our Wednesdays and what Kurt said as well. We at the elementary level and the middle school have established some new leadership teams, which are also doing some work on our Wednesdays. So I'm really excited about that. And we've already met a couple times, and they've already started taking the bull by the horns, as they say, and are really starting to it's empowered them to really embrace the vision of our school and our district in ways that they haven't been able to before, because it's them taking the ownership of the vision. So I'm just really excited about that. Relatedly, I just want to give a pointed shout out to Zach Boydhelm. He is our new behavior specialist who's kind of taking on SEL and our ruler implementation. He's done wonders already. So just want to appreciate him publicly. And then lastly, just so proud of our staff and how they're rolling out our safety protocols. They're doing so good, and I feel really, really good about what we're doing. So that's it from me. Want to kick it up to the middle school. Kent?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kent Valera. I'm honored to be principal at Talent Middle School. And Lisa and I want to share a couple of great things happening at Talent Middle School for our students tonight. The first thing is we are really excited that all of our 8th graders will have a full year of financial literacy and entrepreneurship class with some STEM activities. We have a great staff member named Peter Daney. His expertise and hard work over the summer months created this new class. Kids will learn about taxes, checking accounts, types of credit, managing credit, insurance, budgeting, things like that. The second semester, however, they're going to apply that learning, create a product, market it, build it. So I want to let Toby know that next year's freshman class will be able to help him and perhaps all the other Phoenix High School staff do their taxes or make proper investments or something like that. But we're very happy that our kids are going to leave with some great financial literacy skills. Peter Daney in his former career was an investment banker, so it's a great way to capitalize on his knowledge and experience and make sure our kids have those skills. The other thing I'm excited about for our students is our new, I've talked about it a little bit before, but our new elective schedule. We actually call them exploratories this year. This first quarter, we are offering 18 different exploratories, and students by the end of the school year probably will be able to offer as many. Some teachers will repeat so that kids can that didn't have their exploratory this quarter can have it next quarter, but we could be offering up to 17 different exploratories. Some of the classes include computer science and coding, a foods class, a literature class like a book club, history through film, and an art class. It's called Next Steps in Art, and also things like pickleball as well. So those are great opportunities for our Bulldogs. And finally, thank you, Aaron. Talent Middle School was selected to participate in NAEP testing. It's the National Assessment of Educational Progress. We'll be doing that in the spring and help our Bulldogs show what they know on our national test. So thank you very much. And Mr. Walker, you're on.
Thank you, Mr. Valere. Board, Toby Walker, principal at Phoenix High School. Great to see you virtually. Mr. Valere, we will get that tax room prepped and ready. Hopefully, I don't know how many staff members they can see in there at a time, but I'm going to put my name on a list first. So thanks for getting that going. Lots of great stuff happened on the ship, as you guys could imagine. It was amazing to welcome back over 600 students to PHS. But prior to welcoming back the 600 plus, we had 9th grade students and students new to our district for a half day on September 7th. I want to recognize Carolina Campbell, who's our Link Crew advisor, as she put together the best first day for 9th grade students that I've seen in my time at Phoenix High School. And dating myself, I think it's been 15 years I've been at PHS, so a shout out to her. The class of 2025 played games, connected with upperclassmen, had a chance to meet their teachers, and become familiar with this new building. They're off to a great start. It's going to be a great class. Also, Lisa Robin and Dave Earhart and our leadership students put together some amazing activities for our 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students. that also took place on that September 7th. It really got that group of students connected, familiar with the building, and it got them prepped for that big day. Speaking of the big day, I've referenced it a couple times, but honestly, seeing over 600 students in our new commons, hallways, and classrooms on September 8th was a sight that literally gave me goosebumps. And I don't say that lightly. This is the first time that we've utilized all the square footage in this building, and it felt amazing. I'll be honest, when I saw 600 students leaving for lunch, I got a little bit nervous. After that, it was really, really amazing to see kids kind of claim their space in this new building, where they eat lunch, where they eat breakfast, where they take their breaks. This is the first time for the kids in this building. So love that they're putting their mark on where they want to be here. And last but not least, it's been wonderful to open up our facilities after hours for all the extracurricular activities that we offer. We have volleyball going right now. My office is in a really cool space. I see people coming and going and picking up kids for sports. You know, we know high school is not just 8 to 4, and we feel blessed to be able to keep kids engaged past that normal school day and welcome the community into our building for those events. So needless to say, our voyage is off to a great start. Thank you. That's it for PHS.
Is there anyone else? I'm looking real quick. Anyone else on? Aaron.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Watson. Board of Directors, Aaron Santi, Administrator, Special Programs, Magnet Programs, Assessment, as Kent referenced. I'm excited about TMS participating for only the maybe 50th time in the NAEP, randomly selected always. From Phoenix Talent Rising Academy, I want to report that our enrollment continues to increase. We're at about 83 students right now, K through 8. And that number is such a large number that we're actually adding a new teacher at our elementary level. So we're excited to be bringing one of those teachers over from Talent Elementary School to help support our virtual and hybrid needs. So we'll be welcoming her on Monday. Excited about that. Also want to report that Sodexo has told us that they're going to be willing to provide some weekly food packs for our Rising Academy students. So those students are going to be able to come in and pick up food once a week, and that'll be enough for breakfast and lunch for an entire week. We're going to offer that at each of our elementary schools for pickup, for ease of pickup for those families. So sent out a survey today, and we're going to find out who wants to take advantage of that service. And we're really thankful to Sodexo for providing that opportunity for our families. So that's it from me, and I think that may be it for our administrators' reports. Thank you, Chair Watson.
Thank you very much. Anyone on the board want to accentuate the positive?
I just want to say again not again, but loved the Manzanita project dedication and all the collaborative work that happened, and really Tiffany, leading that on. And it was great to see Lucy stepping into a larger role and what she's been involved with previously, and then just to see all of the partners there really celebrating that effort. So, and then I rode my bike down to go see this weekend when it was beautiful and there was no smoke, and saw lots of people on the bike path enjoying the different stations with looking through the free books. So anyway, really a great project, and thank you for spearheading that.
Anybody else? Okay. Moving on, we will go to the public citizens comments. I don't have the paper in front of me, but if you would like to, I hear someone might have put their hand up. If you'd like to put your hand up or sign in the chat, you may. We do have two. Zach and Melissa Moody sent a email with correspondence with staff members about the athletic policy on quarantine that we should have all gotten. And then last meeting on 9/2/21, Chris Luz sent an email that I did not acknowledge because I had not read it yet or seen it, because it was like an hour before the meeting. So I wanted to acknowledge that we had received that as well. Thomas, whose hand is that, please?
I see Chris Laws, yeah.
Okay. Chris Love, it's your turn.
All right, thank you very much. and I appreciate acknowledging my email I sent out. What I'm going to request is that the minutes not be approved tonight, so that my comments can better be reflected in the minutes. And in the current minutes, it says that I would like a change in the policy regarding the teaching of controversial issues, which is true, but my main thrust is to be able to have the board approve a policy which allows parents to be notified before a controversial issue is taught. So currently, the minutes don't really reflect that, and I'd like the public to know that I'm requesting that the controversial issues, if they're going to be approved by a principal, be told to the parents before teaching that controversial subject. That's my request. Delay approval of the minutes, and then put in a better reflection of my request. And that'll be it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I believe Zach Moody is next.
Thank you. My name is Zach Moody. I'm a parent of a high school students, and I'm not sure, in reading through the board packet tonight, it looks like you guys will have an agenda item that's dealing with a memo of understanding, and I'm not sure if this is the appropriate place to talk about that, or if the public has an opportunity to comment when that agenda item comes up. So I guess I'm asking for a little guidance there as to if I should wait to speak on that, or if I can speak on that now.
Could you please speak on that now?
Sure. So, so two things. First of all, one thing that I wanted to mention on public comment, and my letter to the school board, thank you for including that, has to do with vaccinated versus unvaccinated quarantine times. And I would ask that the school board take a better look at the existing conditions that are going on around our valley and around our state, and ask that if the school board's really truly trying to protect the students, that they look at those requirements for vaccinated as well as unvaccinated students and staff for that matter. And that kind of gets me into the memo of understanding that the school board has prepared for the modification to, it looks like maybe modification to the agreement that the school board has with the teachers union. And I wanted to bring it to attention that at the beginning of the year, a newsletter was sent out from the high school, at least, talking about masking requirements for students and staff, and saying that masking requirements were true for all students and staff. This memo of understanding that you're producing tonight is in conflict with that, and I would just like to see that the board would evaluate that to make sure that it's consistent with what was told to the parents through the newsletter, or vice versa. If it's supposed to be the other way around and vaccinated staff members do not have to wear masks, we'd like to have an explanation as to why that is with the current breakout cases and vaccinated folks getting sick as well and spreading COVID-19. So it's a pretty serious thing to think about. And I think before the board considers this memo of understanding and approves it, that the board should go through and look at the conflicts there, and they should make sure that that it's consistent with the health and safety guidelines of the state. And if not, and the school wants to be more proactive, then this should be a unilateral requirement across the board. And then just lastly, to my letter that I sent in, I really hope that the school board will reevaluate the quarantine times for those that are vaccinated versus unvaccinated, because this will have a tremendous impact on those that have chosen or are not able to get vaccinated, and their ability to attend in-person school. And as I've said before, and you are all aware that the breakout cases have shown that there's no difference between vaccination and unvaccination as far as people being able to spread the disease. So, we want to make sure that our students are all being taught equally, they're being treated equally, they're not being segregated by class, they're not being segregated by in the class by seating charts, by vaccination status, and so on. So I would ask that you delay the approval of the MOU. It's unfair to the students or to the staff that have chosen or not able to get vaccinated. The sick time seems to be counter to the collective bargaining agreement that the school board has with the teachers. And and likely those that have chosen or are not able to get vaccinated probably weren't part of the conversation. So we just ask that you consider that tonight.
Thank you. Anyone else? And I forgot to say that you had 3 minutes. And I will let you know when your time is up. I apologize for that. Anyone else online that would like to speak? I'll give you another second or so to. Okay, seeing none. If you decide you can always send in an email on to our board secretary, and then we will all get your public comment. Moving on to the superintendent report.
Thank you, Madam Chair Watson. I do have on my notes, I want to echo Sarah's comments about the Manzanita project and work that Tiffany has done and the summer school staff have done to really share that with our community. We look forward, as I mentioned before, to share those sculptures with the 2 other school districts that were impacted by the fires in September of 2020. And we'll let you know when that happens, because they are really excited about it and very appreciative. I do want to call out Talent Elementary as well. As you know, we anticipate numbers at the beginning of the year, and sometimes those come to fruition and we're right on, and sometimes we have some needs for adjustment. And so we approached the Talent Elementary staff on Tuesday after school, said we are in need of some shifting, and really kind of laid it out on the table. And it was really amazing how everybody kind of put their heads together. And, we have, the right people in the right spots, and we're moving a teacher over to PTRA that volunteered, who's very excited about it. Her own kids are in PTRA right now. So it worked out well. We also have another staff member that for the time being will meet the elementary sub requests. So we have some flexibility there. We wanted to do a couple things. We wanted to make sure that we were maximizing our experience with our staff and putting them in positions to where they could succeed. We also wanted to be flexible because we know we may get an influx of kids over the next few months, and as housing starts to open up. So we wanted that flexibility to add classrooms back to Talent Elementary. So it gave us that. So thank you to Heather and her team. Heather made personal phone calls to all the kids and families that were going to be impacted, and we'll be able to make that change on Monday. So just a couple weeks into school. Also want to thank the City of Talent and the City of Talent and the City of Phoenix has been amazing about striping and putting signage around our schools. And as you know, you may have seen the updated striping in around the high school and the elementary school. So thank you for the City of Phoenix for doing that recently. SRO Hole, Officer Hole has also requested, you guys have seen those blinking light crosswalks, requested that out in front of the high school, which will be necessary. He's done a lot of research, and we have to do some ADA ramping work before we can put those in, but that's going to be in the works as well. So it's good thanks to him, and just with the safety in mind for all of our kids. I don't even know when it was. A few years ago, we started talking about boundary changes with the elementary, because we know you could be living on South Pacific Highway over here and be in the Orchard Hill attendance area for elementary, when Phoenix Elementary is probably a quarter of the distance. So we started to research that a little bit. We did some outreach. Families were in support of it to balance out the really the travel and the enrollment for each of those schools. But September 8th, 2020 kind of changed that. I think we're going to put that on pause for a while until we really know what where our families are returning and the developments over the next couple of years. So I didn't want that hanging out there if you were thinking about it, waking up at night thinking about what we're going to do with boundary changes. But it's a big decision for a board, and but I think we have some time on that from that event. The UGB update at Culver Field, as you know, we put in a UGB request for the City of Talent. We got word last week that they want to set up a quick phone call to get some clarification, and then we'll start moving through the process. So I think that will get going here in the next month or so. So I know it's been a long time coming. We essentially cannot do any upgrades or improvements on that space until that UGB is approved by the county and the city. So we're looking forward to that process to move forward. First student, busing has been a challenge, but I will tell you, as we end our second week, it's not solved, but it's settling, and it's been an amazing cooperation between students, families, schools, and our bus company, First Student. Janelle at the Bus Barn has just been really creative and working with schools to have different release times and maximize the drivers that we have. We are in a driver shortage here around the state and nationally, and so we're looking at how we can be as creative as possible. With that, we had an RFP last year, and so we're working with them on what that means based on how they're serving us and what that contract language is. So, and I'll keep you updated on that information. Want to just update you on the TMS quarantine. We had a number of students needing to be quarantined. You may have seen that on the news or heard about it. We just want to commend the staff and our nurse and Tiffany, who's in part of the mitigation team, to really be cognizant and thorough on when we have to decide to quarantine students, because that's not an easy decision at any time, especially with the number of students. So, but I just appreciate their follow through and contacting all those families. A number of staff members stayed late into Monday evening to contact families to make that call. So thank you to TMS staff. Finally, I want to give you an update on the vaccine requirement and just share that we are in good shape in our district. We're going to, we have about 93, 94% of our staff fully vaccinated. We do have a few that are requesting medical exceptions and a few more that are requesting religious exceptions. And we will continue to work with our staff. Our goal is to make sure that we're meeting our obligation and our responsibility and working with our staff to ensure that we're keeping everybody safe. I want to commend Jessica Hamlin. She's a big part of that, meeting with those staff members and connecting with them and setting up those one-on-one interactive meetings when those exceptions are coming in. So thank you, Jessica. And I feel good about where we are compared to where some of our neighbors are. So thank you for all that work. And that is my report.
Any questions?
Yeah, just to clarify, Brent, vaccinated persons in the school have to wear a mask whether they're vaccinated or not.
Yeah,
correct?
it's all students and employees are masked on our campus, inside and out.
I have a quick question, and that is on the UGB approval process with the City of Talent. So pending, we get approval with that. I know it's a little presumptive to ask this, but potential upgrades, or I guess that may mean improvements or work at the Culver fields, does it have to wait for the entire master plan, or once the UGB is approved through City of Talent, then improvements could begin?
Yes, we
nodding.
can start
Okay.
that process.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
it's a good question.
Yes, good question. Any other questions? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda, which is approval of the agenda for tonight, approval of minutes for the 9/2/21 meeting, and personnel report.
Madam Chair, to make a change to the minutes, would that require a motion, or what do we need to do there?
We can, when we make I believe the correct thing to do was when we move for the consent agenda, we would just move for the agenda and the personnel report and not for the minutes. And we can do the minutes at the next meeting. I believe. Nope, I'm getting the no.
I would desire to make a motion to approve the minutes with just a minor change is what I'd like
Okay.
to do.
We can do
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Yep, we can do that.
So I would move approval of the consent agenda with the exception of adding Mr. Luzz's email in full to the minutes for the 9/2/21 meeting.
I'll second.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Sarah. Any more discussion? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. Moving on to action items, board policy BDDH, public comment at board meetings.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Watson. I just want to commend the board for looking at these policies and really for giving our public an opportunity to speak at board meetings. I know some districts around the state are doing them just electronically. They have different policies on receiving citizens' comments, and that is a board choice. But just want to commend the board on providing multiple opportunities for citizens to be able to comment. We shared this policy last time on information and discussion. And yeah, I can entertain any questions or we can move forward.
Any questions or comments about this policy?
Yes,
Yes, you have questions or comments, or
you're talking about BDDH, are we there?
yes?
Okay. I have some
Okay.
comments, several, if I may.
Can everyone hear Rick? I want to make sure that he can be heard on the microphone. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, is it public comment or is it public participation? I saw it written differently in two different areas at board meetings. That's one issue. Second one, I see that we have a version 2, but I don't have a copy of version 1. I'm wondering if something we should look at as well as version 2. That's the second item. Third item on the second line, the way it reads, become acquainted with the program and operation of the district. Is it program or programs?
Can you repeat where you said that? So I think
Second line on the second line near
Okay.
the end of it. Acquainted with the program and operation of the district. Is it? Maybe it's correct. But I just
Which page is that?
on first page.
First page, it's in the first paragraph.
First
First paragraph, second line towards the end.
So-
Okay, got it.
Okay, so I'll continue on.
okay.
The next two paragraphs here all deal with disabilities, which the original did not. And I'm certainly not against the language that's in here, but it just seemed like a lot of time spent on a particular area, but maybe it's necessary. Under the category of audience, says at the discretion of the board chair, further comment may be allowed. Explain. I guess I'd like to know what we mean by that. What may be allowed? And the next one, okay, request for an item on the agenda. And the way it reads, why are we making a request to the superintendent? This is a board meeting, not a school meeting. But then I want you to see down below the italicized language, which does clarify it. And I don't know if that's part of this or not, but it does, and does help. And then on language and policy KD.
Oh, can we just stay on? Well,
Yeah, I'm referencing
Okay, okay.
that in policy KD, there is some other language that if we were to delete that one, which is being requested, then that language too fits more with this italicized one. And if I may, I'll turn on page 2. Okay, page 2 of 3, comments regarding staff members. Again, I referenced it before, the district operations and programs. Going back to a previous comment on line 2 of the document. And that's it. So
That was rather fast. I don't know about for everybody else, but
So I just have a point of order question.
Yes.
Because do we need a motion on the table in order to, so would you like to make a motion with proposed changes, or are you just wanting to discuss the things that you brought up?
Yeah.
I think we might need a motion on the table to approve the policy, and then discussion, and then if we need to make amendments, and a motion to amend.
I am fine.
Because I'm not sure where we can go with all.
and I don't mind making that motion that
Okay.
we adopt this policy.
Okay. Yeah. Or, if there are, so a good example is, I think the first paragraph, the program, I think that was probably supposed to be programs, maybe. So
Just a point of order. Do we need to second that motion? If we
Yeah.
yes, we need a motion and a second. And then I think when we're going to have a discussion, I think we need a motion and
Okay.
a second on the table.
I am fine with that.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
I motion.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so the motion's been made. Rick made the motion, Michael seconded. Now we will take it to discussion. So first order is the S at the end of programs and organization. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So which do you think is correct? Programs and operation or program and operation?
I would suggest it be S.
Programs and operation.
Okay. So then, Rick, what was the second comment that you came up with? I think it was a question. I apologize.
I think I can address that
Okay,
as a
thank you.
version 2, and
Oh.
and this is we're replacing this, and this was version 1, and so it's been updated, and the BDDH is now public comment at board meetings. It's been updated, by the OSBA. So that's
It's supposed to be
yeah,
comment.
Yep.
And then what was the next one?
Yeah.
I just mentioned the language in the next 2 paragraphs, but I'm not objecting to it.
I think,
I probably shouldn't even brought it up.
Go ahead.
yeah, and I just think to clarify, we want to make sure, board meetings are accessible to, our entire public and our students. And I think that's why that language was updated. And, our last policy was updated a decade ago. So.
Okay. So scratch that one. My next one was under audience. During the session of a board meeting open to public members, of the public may be invited to present comments during the designated portion of the agenda. At the discretion of the board chair, further public comment may be allowed. What does that mean?
Do you want to answer that?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I read it as that if there was for some reason, another chance for the public to comment on the board chair could open it up. I'm trying to think of an example that it would be done at.
We have had instances, and I remember a few years ago when we're looking at our integrated pest management that we've opened up a little more of a dialogue, but that would be up to the board chair. It doesn't happen very often, but that is an opportunity as well. And to clarify that bolded language down there is just to highlight that it is an option for at the discretion of the board chair in consultation with the superintendent to add that item to an agenda in the future.
Yeah, I understand that the board chair would work with the superintendent on the issue, but is that italicized language to be part of this policy?
Yes,
It
yes,
is.
yeah.
So I guess that explains it, so that's okay then. And the last one I had was on page 2, and it's comments regarding staff members at the bottom. Again, it says operations and programs.
Okay.
But if we change the one up above, that'll get the 2 in sync. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay. So, correct me if I'm wrong, the only language change that we are entertaining is adding an S to programs and operations at the first line to match programs and operations towards the end of this document.
That'd be correct.
Okay.
So moved. I'm making a motion to make those edits.
Okay.
Approve the policy with those edits.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Anybody second the motion to make the policy with these edits?
I would.
Okay, Rick. So it has been moved by Michael and seconded by Rick to adopt this policy with the addition of the S's at the program and operations. I will take it to a vote. Rick,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Polly,
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes, and then I have an additional question to this document, and I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
sorry.
We
Sorry.
jumped too quick.
We kind of moved on.
Oh, sorry, I did not. I apologize. I did
Oh,
not.
that's okay.
Go
And-
ahead.
And I'm still trying to figure this out too, so we can learn together. I love the language around inclusivity of providing accessibility for folks with disability, and that there's going to be support for individuals that might need the appropriate devices. And I'm not sure if this might be a good place to include language and language accessibility for other folks that don't speak English or ASL, as we are including folks with disabilities, which is fantastic. I'm not sure if this is the appropriate place.
Yes. So we've already had a motion. We've
Yeah,
already have
and I
voted
can
on it.
say it doesn't need to be in policy to be able to do that. So, I
Okay.
mean, we're working towards making sure it's accessible to all. And then it does say about notice of that if you need that interpretation or that to reach out to the district office.
And I mean, we could, since it's already, and I apologize again for not
That's
seeing
okay.
you. We can pass it and then we can bring it up again and change the policy again. But I think if we're going to add language like that, the appropriate thing to do is to contact OSBA and get language for them, or at least have a lawyer look over it so we make sure that the language that we put in there would be acceptable. So my suggestion would be finish the vote, pass it, and then we can work on this and get something that we make sure is legal and correct, so we don't make a mistake. Because
I would be in favor of that, adding a line about language accessibility to that paragraph.
So we'll
Yeah.
finish the vote. This is I'm clarifying. We'll finish the vote, and then we have an OSBA we're working on policies, and we have a person that's helping this. We will ask them to add this. It might not be at the next meeting, but it might be in some future meetings because I know they're in the middle of policy, and then we'll bring it back with those additional wording. Is that
That's
fine?
great. Thank
Okay.
you. I
You're
appreciate that.
okay? So
She get to vote?
Nope, she's
Yes.
gonna get to vote now.
Okay.
Thank you, Nancy. I vote yes, the policy passes. I will pay more attention. Board policy BDDHAR.
Yeah, this is just the administrative rule that goes along with it and clarifies how people can sign up and what clarifies it a little more. So
Do we have a motion?
Move approval of board policy BDDHAR
We
as
have-
presented.
Do we have a second?
I second that.
Okay. A motion by Michael, second by Nancy. And do we want to bring this to discussion?
Discussion.
Okay, thank you, Rick.
The second paragraph, very last, it says the board chair will be with 3 minutes. It's a 3-minute comment in there. And I noticed it's also down below in the card that's referenced. I hate to see us get locked in on a 3-minute discussion. I mean, it depends on how many people there are, how many, what, it's, I think I'd rather have the chair have more discretion on how much each person could talk. So I'm not real excited about that 3-minute thing.
What would you suggest?
We even had the word will generally be allowed 3 minutes, but
So this is my concern. I mean, I want the person, because some people put a lot of time and effort into what they're going to say. And I want everyone to make sure that they do what's appropriate. And then there's some times where we've had a huge audience of a lot of people. And if you stay 3 minutes, then not everyone gets to talk. And then I guess I always want to be considerate. And those people who spent and timed out to do 3 minutes, and then I change it to 2 minutes because there's a ton of people in the room, which I know does not happen often. I just want to make sure that we're fair to everybody and making sure that someone's not, it might take them half an hour for writing it and practicing it and timing it and then coming to the meeting. I really want to be respectful of the community's time. And so I get that giving them more time would be one way to do that, but I also want to make sure that we're fair. So I'm just bringing that out there. I'm not sure what the solution is, but I'm just.
I think if I may, you're also suggesting that depending upon how many people are signing up to speak, it might be less than that.
yeah, it might be 2 minutes.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah.
I just hate to get locked into anything.
That prescriptive.
There is also an opportunity to send an email with a little bit more lengthy of an explanation to the board. If you really feel like there's more. And so I think that the 3 minutes is pretty standard, I would say, in different board meeting agendas that I've seen. I don't know if there's an opportunity to maybe put an overall time limit, and then if someone, I don't know. I think that if it's longer than 3 minutes, I think an email or written communication is probably a good idea.
Any other?
Anybody else?
Yeah.
It just kind of speaks to like speech and debate rules when you have a time limit, and it makes it flow more smoothly, and we have opportunity for other, people to also submit comment. I feel like we should just, we can always look at this later if we run into a situation where this isn't working for us. Is that what I heard you say earlier about the other motion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
So if we decide later, as time goes on, that we have more, we could maybe entertain that at that time. Sorry, my speech and debate girls are in my head right now.
No, that's fine. I have been watching different board meetings. I never thought we were going to be at a time where there would be viral board meetings online, but we are at that time. And some of them are only a minute and a half. And so I thought 3 minutes was generous. And I know some people, there's never enough time. And and I've looked, and most boards are like 1.5 to 2 minutes. So it's a good question. 3 minutes has worked for us, and we've been, you know, kind of generous tonight. The timer went off and I let them go a little longer. So, I mean, we can speak about that, and we can try 3 minutes, and then we can bring it back in another month or two if that doesn't work.
And knowing that this is an AR, it's really flexible too. So
Yeah.
Oh, it is. That's right.
Did you make a motion?
I did.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I second it.
Any more discussion before I take it to a vote? Right now, the motion is as is with the 3-minute language. I'm going to take it to a vote. Rick?
No.
Okay. Sarah?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Polly?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
And I vote yes. It passes. Now to board policy KD, which is being recommended by OSBA to delete it. It is no longer relevant. I think this was back in 1989 or 83. So they're recommending that it was replaced by other policies. So this one to be deleted.
I move the board approve deletion of policy KD as presented.
Thank you, Sarah. Do I have a second?
I second that.
Thank you, Nancy. Do we have any discussion about deleting this policy?
Why not?
Why not?
Sure.
Let's have it.
I'm going to vote to, delete this thing. But I got kind of a kick out of the third paragraph down there. Questions asked by the public shall, when possible, be answered immediately. But we've never done that. We've always just listened. It's kind of a moot point, but I just point that out.
To tell you the truth, I actually looked at this policy when we were getting lots of comments because I was like, I need to read the policy. And I was like, we've never done this. And found out that it's dated in, and then OSBA. And when our conversations with Janet about the listening session, we talked to her, Brent and I talked to her, and she said, yeah, this policy needs to be deleted. That's no longer recommended by OSBA.
It's just disappointing it didn't make it 4 decades from when it was implemented. It fell a couple years short there, but yeah.
I would like to thank Brent for having staff answer the questions and provide those at the next board meeting of questions that were presented during citizens' comments. So I guess I want to be careful that if there are questions that they are being answered, they're being answered by those who are the ones who need to answer the questions. So I just want to be clear that we're
right.
We're not just absorbing information here. We're really.
And so just to be, I mean, this is kind of off topic and I apologize, but we do have an FAQ page on our website, and Brent is answering and his staff are answering the questions that we're getting. And go ahead.
And I wholly appreciate that. And I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. And so I just want to, I can mention that more at the next meeting, and or just let public know at the beginning of public comments that there is, and maybe we can post something on our Facebook page or social media to let people know that where they can find the commonly asked questions, because usually, as you guys all know, it's the same, not the same questions, but similar questions.
We're here to serve our kids, and staff is here to serve our kids, and our families are an extension of our kids, right? So if they have questions, of course, the staff is going to, I would expect that. And I know the rest of my colleagues would too, that, it's customer service, right? And our families are our customers. So absolutely.
Okay, so getting back to deleting this policy, any more discussion on it before I take it to a vote? Okay, hearing none, I will take it to a vote. I'll move it this way. Nancy?
Yes.
Polly?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Okay, I vote yes. The policy is now deleted. Now, next to appoint budget committee applicants, we have two.
We have
and-
one more. KG.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Sarah. KG, board policy, KG, community use of district facilities. Thank you, Sarah.
John and his team worked really hard on this. We gave kind of the guidelines last time, but this is a policy that reflects how we'd like to move forward.
Do I have a motion?
I move we adopt policy KG as presented.
Thank you, Rick.
I second that motion.
Thank you, Nancy. Rick moves, Nancy second. Any discussion on policy KG, community use of district facilities?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear them.
Okay, second paragraph on the bottom. It says approval for the use of the facilities granted for a period not to exceed 3 months. I'm just curious as to why. Why do we, not that I'm against it, I just wonder why.
Please do.
Well, we do that pretty consistently. Things change, things come up, new programs come in. When people resubmit, it's a pretty easy process. We just update the facility use form. So we want to make sure that we're have some flexibility if things happen to come up during the year.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, concerns before I take this to a vote? Hearing none, I will take it to a vote. Nancy,
Yes.
Polly,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
I vote yes. Policy passes. Now, now appoint budget committee applicants. Brent, did you want to?
We have two very experienced applicants that are amazing community members, and I think it'd be wise to have them on board again. Dwayne Robinson and Laura Latbeach.
And to clarify, there's 3 opening positions, so we will keep the other one open until it's filled, correct?
There's no zone restrictions on the budget committee, correct?
No,
Just have to reside within the district.
correct.
Okay. I move the board appoint Laura Lotspeak and Dwayne Robinson to serve a 3-year term on the budget committee.
Second.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Rick. Any discussion?
I just want to second what Brent said. Both of these people have been very supportive of our district. They're very knowledgeable, and so I certainly welcome them back.
Perfect.
Here, here.
Agreed.
Yes. Okay, we'll take it to a vote. Rick,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Polly,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Thank you very much for giving your time to our budget committee. Adopt budget calendar for 2022-2023 is next.
Yes, this we went over this last time. It does meet the similar schedule that we've used in the past, and I think it'll meet our needs this year.
I move the board adopt 2022-2023 budget calendar as presented.
Thank you, Sarah.
Second?
Thank you, Michael. Sarah moved, Michael second. Do we have discussion on the budget calendar? Nope. Oh, nope. Okay, no discussion. We'll take it to a vote. Rick,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Polly,
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Next is declaration of surplus items, which are Chromebooks. Brent, did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, we have a surplus of older Chromebooks that are still in good use. We've been fortunate to really go to a one-to-one Chromebook to student over the last several months, really the last 2 years, and we'd like to declare these surplus. We can do them at public auction, or we can work with a nonprofit. And so Talent Maker City's been amazing, and so we've been in contact with them to help us get these in the hands of people that need them.
Thank you.
Can I make a motion?
Yes, please do.
I move the board declare the 301 Chromebooks identified as decommissioned as surplus items.
Thank you. I'll second it. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Polly. Any discussion on this?
Thank you for finding such a great collaborative partner to pass them on to, and really excited about what this will mean for them. So thank you for being really thoughtful as usual.
And I just had a question about what is the service life of these? How long do we have them in circulation for our district before we cycle them out?
7 years generally, but we have, some of them have been well loved.
So,
Say that.
yeah.
And especially when they were going home a lot and backpacks.
Yeah. For those, she said 7 years, but these have been well loved. So yes. Okay.
Lots of stickers, like hinges, a little off, but they still work.
Yeah. Yeah. 7 is a lot. Is a long
Yeah.
time for electronics. So yeah. Okay.
Great. Okay. Did we have a motion already? Yeah. Okay, so I'm like, I wrote it down. We did. Okay, so we'll take it to a vote. Nancy?
Yes.
Polly?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you very much for your work, Tiffany. Next item is licensed and classified MOUs.
Yeah, we have been working with both associations on an MOU for the year. You approved a MOU with the licensed staff about the health and safety and some quarantine language last time. We have similar language for the classified on those aspects. We did not have a chance to meet with the classified leadership prior to the last board meeting. But what you will see is presented are the MOUs related to the vaccine requirement for both associations. And again, this has been a collaborative effort and a lot of meeting back and forth. All of this has gone through council, the board's council, and it meets the letter of the rule for the state. And we feel like we have a good cooperative language moving forward to meet the needs of our students. Also in the with the license, we clarified some information in the collective bargaining agreement about longevity, and we switched that from years to that was originally placed in the CBA as steps, but it should have been years, so we made that change. In addition to the licensed contract, we have an MOU regarding staff members who work back, retire, and then work back for our district at the board's discretion. And we updated that to meet the needs of the rules and the laws set forth by that, the PERS and the retirement. I'll entertain any questions.
I do have a question.
Mhm.
It's actually a point of clarification. So when these MOUs are passed, then they do go on to the website for the public to read, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Along with our collective bargaining agreements that are already on there.
Right.
So it came up earlier about a discrepancy.
Can you speak to the mic?
Oh, sorry. It came up earlier in citizen comment. Did I misunderstand about a discrepancy in communication that went home to what this says earlier in public comment? No.
I don't know what the question.
About masking that not all masks, but then Michael clarified that. So, so we've clarified that misunderstanding or that miscommunication.
There's something in the classified MOU about unvaccinated having, there's specific masking requirements.
Oh,
If you're
oh.
unvaccinated, you have to wear and
I did see that,
both
like
of-
the,
yeah.
yes.
All
like
of those.
two- yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
that'll be for
Okay.
all the staff, and that's when
Yeah.
HR will have their interactive meeting and sit down with the staff members and go through a number of options of extra safety measures that could be relevant to continuing to work with students, depending on your role in the district.
Perfect. Thank you for that
Yeah,
clarification.
you bet.
Appreciate it.
Can I ask another clarification on top of this? That is recommended by the Oregon Health Authority and Jackson County to do that, correct?
Yeah, we have to do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what I
it's
was
not a
making sure.
recommendation. It's in the rules.
It's a have
It's a
to.
requirement.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone has to wear masks if you're unvaccinated, depending upon your role working with kids. You have to take additional specific requirements about the type of mask that you wear.
Yeah.
Got it.
Sarah, did that answer your question?
It did. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I will move the board approve the 3 licensed MOUs as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Sarah. And to clarify, we are voting on the license MOUs, which there's 3 of, and then we will do the classified MOUs. So we'll take it to a vote. Rick? Or did you have
How
a dis-
critical is it that we pass these tonight?
I'm getting ahead, not that it's critical, but Brent, can you explain, please?
Yeah, we need to put these in place to be able to continue to meet the October 18th deadline. So our staff know we've communicated with our staff on these timelines and deadlines for this, and it is necessary that we pass this tonight.
Yeah, because I was tempted to just abstain because I really haven't had a chance to read them, and that I wish I had that chance. But I have faith in the administration, so I guess I will vote yes.
Would you like to take a
I was gonna
recess?
say that's what I was gonna. We can take a recess at any time. I can call a recess at any time, and I can call a 15-minute recess or 10-minute recess to read these. If you would like to have time to read them, I am fine with that. If I get a head nod, I would be more than happy to call a recess so we can read these.
I would like, let's take a recess.
We are on a recess to read the MOUs. Should we let admin staff go if they'd like?
Sure.
Admin staff, if you would like to stay after the recess, that would be great. If not, have a nice night and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much.
Can you put us on mute?
Testing. Okay. Thank you all for being patient with us while we took a brief recess. We are back. We wanted to be able to read the MOU. So
I think I had originally moved to accept it as presented.
yes, I wrote it down. Michael,
Or
I have Michael moved and you seconded.
Okay,
Is
thank
that
you.
correct?
My apologies, yes.
And then we have up for discussion. Is there, now that we have read it, who would like to start with the discussion?
Just to clarify, I read it earlier.
Yes, I did too.
Yes, okay. If I'm not passing something I haven't read.
Sarah, did you have a question or clarification that you wanted to?
Everyone is required to wear a mask, vaccinated or unvaccinated. Staff,
Correct.
students, volunteers, everyone on campus is required to wear masks, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
This MOU specifically addresses the vaccine requirement, and then any other. My understanding is in any other protocols that need to be put in place for those who are granted exceptions. My understanding.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah.
I appreciate that clarification. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, it's good.
And I'll reiterate, this has been vetted by your council and many eyes on this.
Thank you.
Any other discussion so I take it to a vote? Hearing none. Rick,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Polly,
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
I vote yes. The MOUs for license is passed. Now we're going to non-licensed.
These two classified it similar to the one that was approved with the health and safety and the quarantine language. And then in addition, there's an MOU for the vaccine requirement. So those are the two for classified.
I'll move the board approve the two classified MOUs as presented.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Polly. For moving for the classified, we will take it to discussion. Anyone want to have anything discussed or clarify? Rick, do you have anything to discuss or clarify?
No, I do not.
Looking no, so we will take it to a vote.
I'd just like to just add that commend the collaboration between our staff and administration and our associations and navigating a very challenging circumstance and coming up with something that just reflects the values of our district, which is serving kids. And so thank you for all I know it's a lot of effort and a lot of things that none of us asked for. I just want to express appreciation for not only getting this done, but getting it done in a collaborative manner so that we can move forward and be great to focus on educating kids again. So thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, I'll take it to a vote. Nancy?
Yes.
Polly? Michael?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
I vote yes. Thank you very much. Moving on to information and discussion, the facilities and bond update. And thank you, John, for staying. We appreciate it. We love to hear this part. So.
Thank you, and good evening, Madam Chair and the board. I want to start off with really praising my staff. I pulled our statistics for this past year, and I wanted to point out we did a staggering 4,422 work tickets last year. 2,391 were corrective maintenance, such as repairing a sink or hanging a whiteboard, and 2,031 were planned maintenance on equipment, vehicles, all of the things that we inspect. 80% of the corrective tickets were done in less than a week, and 95% of all of the planned maintenance tickets were done in less than 30 days. So they work so hard, and it really shows. If you walk through the facilities, you can tell that we care. We care as a district, and we're taking care of the facilities. So for the bond update, so PHS remodel has had some pretty serious delays, mostly due to material shortages, and we have also had some COVID outbreaks in the construction crews that have slowed things. But the main thing has been fire, life, and safety devices actually have been delayed clear since June. We now think that we're going to get them in the first week of October, and hope to have the addition opened up sometime in mid-October, and the theater will be the last part of the school that would open, and that should be sometime in November, hopefully early November. PES seismic, as you know, we moved into the primary and the annex buildings before school started. That's going well, and they started the cafeteria seismic upgrade, and I was informed today that they're approximately 5 days ahead of schedule, and we were hoping to have that building back by mid-October. So very hopeful that we will actually be able to accept it early and get back to business as usual and supporting our staff and students there with use of the full facility. And that is my report for this evening. Open for questions.
Questions for John?
John, it's pretty staggering to hear the stats on the tickets, and I would like to commend you because not every school district has good systems in place to keep track of all of that stuff, and it's super, super important. So in order for the maintenance team to be effective, they have to have a highly effective leader. And so thank you for everything that you do in leading that effort and supporting kids and supporting staff with really top-notch facilities for our valley. And it's comforting to know that our community's investment is being well cared for. So thank you.
Thank you.
The Bond Oversight Committee met last week and had an opportunity to be on the Orchard Hill campus, which the new playground, I confess I hadn't been over there since all of the construction had been completed. So it was fantastic to see the new playground. Really love the new cafeteria, and you're right, the brick looks fantastic over there. And then I was really excited that the way the flow is, that there's no more pineapple on the PE floor while PE's happening. Yeah, because that, I can tell you that photo spoke volumes and communicating with the community about why this fund was necessary. And so just really enjoyed seeing the kitchen space over there and the cafeteria. And then also having the students not walk on that outside sidewalk along that really to get to the playground. I just was thankful for that security measure to just be in place. So great job at Orchard Hill. Really enjoyed seeing that, and just continue to fingers crossed for that other seismic. Sorry, get my pool.
Any other questions for John?
I have one I'd like. John, would you explain that backdrop behind you?
I would love to. My incredible artsy 14-year-old daughter periodically changes out the chalkboard wall behind me. And I don't know how well you can see it, but this year is a Nightmare Before Christmas Frankenweenie theme. And she's about 90% done with it. There's a few more characters to add and a little bit more color. But I am super proud of it. I'm super proud of her. I put the wall in because she loves to do artwork, and I wanted to support her and challenge her.
Okay.
So
My compliment. Very, very good.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments for John? Thank you so much, John. We appreciate all your hard work. Moving on to the financial update.
Yeah, Jasmine gave a update last week on our financials, and the next step in this process is really getting ready for the audit in October. And Jasmine and her team are wrapping up the books from last year, continuing to just serve our schools as well with a lot of needs on purchases, and her team's doing amazing. So just appreciate her. And once we get closer to audit time, we'll be asking for board volunteers to sit in on that and be a part of that discussion.
By board volunteers, do you mean Rick?
He's done.
It's usually Rick, and then he helps train someone that hasn't been on. And if you haven't, it's only a few hours, and it may, like, you may only catch like a percentage of it, but I've been on it a few times, and I really recommend that.
I'd like to do that. I'd like to do that.
Great.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to legislative OSBA update. So I don't have as much as last time. So as you probably all saw, the OSBA conference is canceled for November. They're not doing virtual or online. It's completely gone. They are planning, hopefully there'll be more freedom in the summer. So they're looking at doing a summer event that will look more like the November event, and kind of not really a hybrid, but have more work sessions and more breakout sessions. I will have more updates with that sometime. They are also working on providing more webinars throughout the year, including some of the guest speakers that they were planning to have. They'll have webinars so that we have the opportunity to hear from those guest speakers, which is amazing. They will also be having to do an annual meeting. We usually do the annual meeting as part of the bylaws, and so they will be doing the annual meeting usually is like 10 or 15 minutes, so they'll be doing a quick annual meeting. I'm not sure when, but so look for that. They had 2 webinars this yesterday, and I think one tonight on board roles and responsibilities, and also legislation. If you missed them, you can go on to their website under training. There is training events. There's an webinar archive button. I checked about 4 o'clock today. The roles and responsibility one was up there, but the legislation one was not, but it should be up shortly. And there's a whole bunch of webinars. So they're going to continue doing those. They're still planning, as of today, they're still planning on doing the regional meetings live in Medford. Fingers crossed that continues.
Wow.
That will be October 28th at the Rogue Regency on Biddle Road. Dinner will start at 6. The meeting will start at 6:30. It's always nice to go and hear have a chance to share what's going on regionally that we want OSBA to look at, and then also get an update. If you would like to go, please let Denise know, and she will register us.
That's a Friday, October 8th.
28.
28th.
Oh, 28.
Sorry.
Okay, got it. I was gonna say, why are we doing OSBA things on a Friday night?
So the next we will be having tomorrow and Friday and Saturday. I got my days confused. Friday and Saturday, which is tomorrow. OSBA is having their, we were supposed to meet in person, board of directors to do their goal setting and priorities. We will be doing that, electing officers, updating and then planning for the year, plus for board goals and developments, and working on a DEI statement. And I can give you more information. It's going to take 2 weekends. We're doing that weekend, and then they've asked us not to schedule the time we had for the conference, and we will be doing a board of directors meeting the weekend of the conference too. Last thing is the State Board of Education work group is having the work group is on equitable and racially responsive balanced assessment. And that's a topic that you've probably heard people talk about. It will be on September 23rd online at 4 o'clock. They are recording it. And if you need the link, I can send it to you. You should be able to search and find that information, but it might be a good one to watch. I know that's a topic that many people have questions, and I believe they're going to clarify. It's just going to be a work group. It says the work group will receive information and a presentation and is not scheduled to take any action on this meeting, and the meeting will be recorded. So I just wanted everyone to be aware of that. I usually don't talk about those, but I felt like that was an important one to talk about.
Would you say the date and time again for that one?
It is Thursday, September 23rd at 4 p.m. And if you don't already have you can sign up for updates and get them emailed to you. And that's how I was aware of this. Okay. Any questions for me before I move on?
I'm just saddened to hear about the annual convention because, especially for our newer members here, because it's such a great learning event. Yeah, but it is what it is.
Well,
and we had a lot to celebrate
Yes.
at this particular
Yes, we
convention.
did. Yeah, we did.
I echo your disappointment.
Forgot about that part of it. Dang it.
I agree that it was we all wanted to celebrate, and hopefully we will be able to in September, and there will be more training. I think it's something that we all, especially those of us that have gone to the November conference, we really missed that the opportunities to talk to other board members. Things come up, even like my OSBA directors. It was like, if I was talking in person, I could ask this question, but because usually you're sitting at lunch and you can ask a question and get a whole bunch of feedback, and it was really beneficial, more than I think we all realize. So hopefully OSBA is working hard. They're hoping that we will have something in the summer and we'll all be able to go, and it will be wonderful and joyous, I hope, and we can celebrate Brent. So I'll keep you updated on that.
I wanted to hear Brent's speech.
I
That's
know,
what I was
right?
most looking forward to.
Well, last year they had them record it and you could play it. So if that was the case, you could play it like every single night, if you would like. And we could even play it. Yeah. So on the website, we could have it posted on the website and everything. We will make sure we celebrate Brett and everyone has a chance to listen to his speech.
I was able to attend the legislative webinar yesterday, and I found it really informative and helpful, and just clarifying. I took some screenshots of some different of the slides that but the thing that really stood out for me was the Measure 5, passing of Measure 5 moved where money was more locally sourced and really had an impact on how we had a lot more local control over how the money was spent, to really just flipping that, and 75% of it coming from. So I just appreciated that sentence of information because it really clarified some things for me. So always an opportunity to learn something new from Lori and Richard and Jim and that team.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the Almeda Fire update.
Speaking of learning, I don't know if you had a chance to attend Pam Marsh's town hall, where a number of entities, including Phoenix Talent Schools, presented. But I learned a lot actually in that, even though we've been in a lot of meetings with recovery and rebuild. But it was just great to hear from the city of Phoenix, the city of Talent, the county, and other entities that really kind of presented. There's a lot of hope. We still have 500 and some people in hotels. Another few hundred probably that are still doubled up and tripled up and quadrupled up. So we still have a long way to go, but I was encouraged after that town hall.
I believe you can still access that recording, right? On Facebook.
Yeah, and I just got an email today that where to access it, and we'll get it on our social media and our website.
And Pam Marsh had a good, on her Facebook page, had a really good outline of what had happened, and it was very, very informative. So if you don't have the time to watch the video, you could read, it will take a few minutes just to read her highlights of the event. Okay, moving on to Lpc Candidate. As you guys might remember, last meeting I mentioned that there's opening. The board has to nominate by October 1st. So we would have to, if we decide to nominate one of our members, we would have to suspend the rules and then nominate them so that Denise could get the paperwork in the appropriate time.
Does everyone know what the LPC is?
Oh, sorry, Nancy was not here last
Okay.
time. It's the Legislation Policy Committee, which is part of OSBA, the Oregon School Board Association, and they have a Legislation Policy Committee that comes up with priorities so that when the lobbyists go to during the session, they have a list of priorities, and then they can go, okay, yes, this bill is going towards those or not for that. And occasionally there'll be a bill that they can't figure out which way and then they'll come back to the group and ask, and then go from there. There was a big discussion last time about board training. That wasn't ever a thing that we thought would come up to legislation. So they had a lot of open discussion. And so the lobbyists could ask lots of questions so they could go back and represent the members. So it's all the board of directors are on the Legislation Policy Committee, and then there's legislation. So Southern Oregon would have 2 representatives, myself and whoever wins. Right now we will put that person up for nomination, and then all the people that were nominated will then, each board will get 1 single vote for that person, and then we will decide. I think it finally is clear in December, and they become term in January. I think I covered all that.
So just a clarification, because you said board of directors, she's talking about OSBA board of
Yes.
directors. So
Yes.
all the OSBA board of directors are on the LPC, and then the other representatives of that committee are elected within regions amongst boards within those regions. So I'm saying that out loud because I'm learning as we're going too. So yeah, did we have someone on our board who was interested in
I would
that?
actually be interested in taking on this opportunity. I've served on this board for about 5 years, and I'm looking forward to this new term, and I feel like this is an opportunity to continue learning and continue growing into this role. So I'd like to ask maybe for your nomination to throw my hat in the ring for this candidacy.
Hearing that, I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules and move this to an action item.
Thank you, Rick. Do I have a second on that?
I second.
Any discussion on suspending the rules? Hearing none, I will take it to a vote. Rick?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Polly?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
I vote yes, the rules are suspended. This is now an action item to nominate a board member from our district for LPC candidacy.
I nominate Sarah Crawford.
I second the motion.
Rick nominates Sarah. Rebecca?
I have a quick question about it. Because for the future, I'm not interested right now, but what is the time commitment that's, I never heard, I didn't see that really.
It's a
about
really
what it
good
was.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 3 meetings throughout the year, and then when the legislature is in session, there's a weekly Friday phone call where you sit in and listen and kind of get updated, and then I would bring reports back to the board on what's happening.
And this is like a 1-year thing?
It's
Or-
a 2-year.
2-year. Okay. Thank you.
And during the short session is when they do a lot of their work for what we're going to do for the next session, because during the long session, there's a lot, the bills are so fast. The short session, there's not as much. So there's a little bit more longer meetings during the short session, but a lot more activity to keep track of during the longer session. Just to clarify. Okay. So I had a motion by Rick and a second by Rebecca. Any other discussion on questions about or comments? Sarah, thank you so much for putting your name in. You did a great job helping me watch bills the last session. I really appreciate it. I think you would be such a great benefit for the Southern Oregon. So I will take it to a vote. Rick?
Yes.
Sarah?
Abstain?
Michael?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Polly?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
I vote yes. So we will be putting that paperwork in. Thank you very much, Denise, and thank you very much, Sarah, and good luck. It'll be great to have you on that.
Thank you for your support.
You are more than welcome. Enrollment report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In your blue folders, you had an enrollment report. You notice we are down 150 students from last year, which may seem like a number that's a little smaller than you had in your head, but I will tell you from 2 years ago, we are down, and we did our count last year for 2021 after the Almeda fire, and we were down 138 students from the year before. So we're a total of 288 students down in the last 2 years, which is a significant number. You will notice it's a little bit different because we do have PTRA, but Phoenix High School is holding steady. I think this, new high school is a welcome place for a lot of people. And, the towns of talent in Phoenix, just the housing shortages are tough. High school kids are a little more mobile and maybe can catch a bus or a long bus ride or RVTD. Some of those youngers are not, but it just highlights the reasons why we need to continue to advocate for the House bill to get ADM security. Pam Marsh did meet with COSA and ODE, and she has a chance to submit 2 bills. This will be one that'll be submitted right off the bat, and I'm hopeful that we'll know within the first couple weeks of that session. So we'll continue to look for that.
Any questions?
How often do we get this enrollment report? Because this is the first I've seen, I think, in my time here. Is it once a year?
Well, we do it we do it at this time, just at the beginning of the year, and we're still working through transfers and things of that nature. We feel like these are solid numbers because if a student was transferring, say to a Medford school or even another school that started early, and Medford started a full 2 weeks before us, we had those transfer requests already. We will do a transfer report as well later on in the year.
yeah.
But if the board wants us to do it a couple times a year, we can do that. I think it'd be wise if we did that in January before the legislative session to see where we are.
Yeah, this is a report I would advocate for every board meeting. So we can talk about it more. I think at the retreat would be a good idea, but I'd also love to see by school, changes over periods of time by school and by grade and disaggregated by various subcategories. So perhaps something that we could discuss at the retreat. But thank you for this report and very informative.
Any other comments, questions?
I think I would like to say that I would like to see this more often because of the nature of what's happened to us here. So during the year.
Okay. Are you comfortable talking about that at the retreat?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Sure.
Okay. This is perfect segue. The next subject is the board retreat. It is in your blue folders. Brent and I have kind of been working on it. I've been taking notes. We talked about a retreat. Oh gosh, like last September, October, I think. We're like, we need a retreat. I've been taking notes. I hopefully did do good. This is a rough draft. If you would like to add things, you can mention them now, or you can mention them later, or you can mention the day of the retreat. There's a lot to cover, and I kind of feel like this is just like putting the ingredients together, and we can iron out the dish at board meetings, but we need some discussion on some things like when we want data and all of that.
Thank you for keeping track of all of those things throughout the year where we're like, oh, we should probably have another. So I appreciate you really keeping track of that so we could have this this discussion. I think it's going to be really helpful for us as a board coming together with new members and that really setting the tone and the flavor for moving forward. So thank you. And thank you to staff for making this available too.
Yeah, no problem. And I commend the board for wanting to do this. I think the board members that have been serving for a while, we've really missed the November annual conference the last really 2 years, and then the summer conferences because this is that's a time where you can really just learn and be together, and we haven't had that time with the board. So I commend that you want to take a Saturday out of your fall and really have some good discussion.
Any questions from the newer members?
I'm just excited we're having it.
I echo that what has been said, and I'd like to add to the agenda language accessibility, discussion around language accessibility, because I think that while there are some pieces around equity, diversity, and inclusion, I think we need to have a specific conversation about the accessibility of inclusion, especially around language.
Can I ask a clarifying question? So are you talking I just want to clarify so we can put it in the right spot and that we have the right information going in. Accessibility for everything, meetings,
right,
events.
Yep.
Okay. We will put that in there somewhere.
Thank you.
Do you have a specific spot you would like it?
All of it.
No, I meant like
board meetings.
No,
Well,
we're
this-
on the
I guess I'm
agenda.
not
It looks like
sure.
maybe after we break for lunch, strengthening relationships, communication.
Yeah,
With
that-
parent, I would say that's probably seems.
Yeah, and that it can be broader. Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
I would love to add board meeting. What would be the
Like a Robert's rules?
well? No, but well, yes, that should be something we discuss.
Okay.
That would be good. And then the delivery of board meeting, the actual,
Materials.
not the materials. Well, yeah, that too.
Okay.
I have mentioned that before too.
I feel like
That's
we're
not
playing
what
a
I'm-
game.
The
I don't-
platform we use to broadcast the board
Yep.
meeting. I'd like to have a
Yes.
discussion about that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So just to clarify,
Saying things that wasn't
Board-
what I was trying to say, but they are things that I have said in the past. So thank you.
just to make sure we've got it in the
Yeah.
notes.
Uh-huh.
So we're talking about the platform for virtual,
Yes.
talking about language, and talking about delivery of materials to the board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, was that on there already? That wasn't. Okay.
And this was kind of broad. I figured that
Yeah, no, it's
each
good.
time. But yes, it's
This
good
is
to
good.
know what we want to talk about. Anything else? And like I said, if you think of something in the middle of the night or when you wake up in the morning, you can. I always think of things when I'm doing the dishes. You can send Brent or me email or Denise, and we will put it on. Or if you wake the morning of, it's fine too. This is more of a collaboration and work through things that come up. So there might be things that pop up too. So
Maybe you just add a. Oh, you haven't any additional topics?
I do.
Perfect. Look at you. That's great.
because I'm sure there's going to be this is the first time since I've been on the board we've done something like this.
Yeah.
So just like everything, it seems like nowadays it's you try your best and then you well, I'm sure on our future ones we'll learn on what works best.
I would ask if there's things that we need to read beforehand to prepare to be there. That would be helpful to know those.
I am working on that currently, but I have
would
been
love that.
so busy this
like
week.
a week before, or we're getting close actually.
I can't promise. So I've had 4 Zoom meetings with school board things this week, and I had wanted to do more. I started getting stuff together, like some policies and stuff. I can't promise it's going to be a week unless someone wants to volunteer to help me get the materials together. I'm just being honest. I think probably my goal was like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay. I just need time because of
Yeah. No, I totally understand that. And yeah, and I
Is
apologize.
there anything you need help with over the next few days? Just let me know.
Michael will be helping me.
I can help you too, Don.
Okay, perfect. So maybe we'll get it out sooner.
That'd be great.
I'm working on getting like some sample policies, for instance, on like matrix for student representatives. Those are kind of hard to find, and kind of getting those kind of things in place. So, okay. Anything else before I move on?
Are there any activities to strengthen the relationship between the board members? I mean, some of us are newer and we haven't really met each other. I mean, besides hi, bye. And usually when we're together, we're doing business, but I'm wondering if there's some sort of activities where there's like a get to know you.
I had not put that on there. And
better.
normally that's what we do at the November because we had so much in here and I wanted to value everyone's time. I did not put it in there. But if it's something you guys would all like to do at the beginning, we can. And if anyone would like to help with an activity, I would be more than happy to let you help with the activity.
I think we should do what Brent suggested at the welcome meeting, which is name, strength, need.
Good idea.
I have I've like used that on so many. So maybe Brent could explain
Sure.
it better, but I felt like that was a really great way to and really appreciated that from your welcome speech before we surprised you. Before you were surprised. It wasn't my surprise.
And I can certainly help set that opening activity up and get that going. So you don't have to worry about that.
Okay. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you bet.
I appreciate it.
I would like to request a trust fall.
I would like to request to be absent during the
Just
trust
don't
fall.
fall the opposite way of where someone's gonna catch you.
Okay.
I just really want to emphasize the importance of this because we get so busy doing the work that we forget to build a strong foundation of trust, of acknowledgement of one another, and they're just really valuable. And it doesn't have to be this long, big thing, but just even if they're sprinkled, throughout the day, that would be really beneficial, I believe.
And my plan, and I don't know what everyone else's plan is, we're going to have lunch. And so usually that's a time at our meetings when we just talk, right? And just let the conversation go natural and organic, and it seems to be a bonding thing. So I think during breaks, do it maybe 1 or 2 activities during breaks and lunch, there will also be that opportunity to get to know each other. But if you think of some other things, I'm more than happy. And we may have to do one of these again sooner than later.
Just to clarify, are we bringing, is it sack lunch or what are we doing?
No, we'll have continental breakfast provided, and then we'll have lunch provided.
Okay, thank you.
And we will get out that information next week, early next week. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to listening session debrief.
I want to thank you and Brent for following through with that suggestion. I want to thank the community members, if they're still on, that came to speak. I was madly trying to take notes and look forward to discussing this further at our board retreat, and look forward to hopefully having future ones. I didn't know we would have guiding questions similar like we had. So I think it did give a framework for facilitating the conversation. And I think it might have been helpful if the board was introduced, because it felt like a listening session with OSBA and maybe just a this is who your board is, and so those are my little feedbacks. But that said, I appreciated those who spoke up and were willing to comment and be part of the process.
Thank you, Sarah.
I thought it was very positive. I thought the facilitator did a fantastic job. And I agree that that would be good introduction. And another thing is just thinking about for future sessions, how we can, I mean, there was some great participation and a lot of community members who did show up. I felt like there was some groups or people missing that I want to make sure that we're reaching out to and hearing from, and just sort of, worth delving into if there are any barriers that prevented that from happening, and how we might, I'm not suggesting we didn't accommodate people, but how we might just better accommodate people from different backgrounds and in different languages and all of that good stuff. So I was, and maybe perhaps it would be good to have maybe a recovery focused listening session too, just for our district, because I was hoping to get some more of that and just hear from our families about how they're doing in the wake of the Almeda fire. And it's not something I thought of ahead of time. So just something to consider for the next session. And I look forward to doing those more and hearing more from our community. So, but very positive, and with any new thing that you do, there's learning that can come from it, and I think we have some good learning to apply to the future sessions. So.
I want to underscore what Michael said, and it was interesting that you were talking about, like, could we do a different platform? I'm not as familiar with Google Meets as I am with Zoom, and I'm not sure what the limitations of Google Teams. I know that for a little bit we had transcription in Spanish. which presents some challenges because people's readability might not be. It's like you have to be a speed reader to be able to catch up with what's going on. And I was wondering if we could, we might be open to utilizing a different platform so there can be simultaneous interpretation. If you can imagine, if you will, if you're showing up to a meeting and people are talking in a language that you don't know, when are you supposed to know when you can ask a question? How do you know when there's that space for you to participate? And that was one of the things that I really noticed, that I appreciate that Lucy was there and said, if you have a question, and she said that in Spanish, but I'm like, wonderful, but how do people really know when to jump in? When is that appropriate question? How do people know it wasn't true engagement? And I would really encourage us to think about other opportunities, especially around technology, to really invite folks to truly participate. And also the engagement. How are we really inviting the community? You know, sometimes I do a lot of engagement in part of my work, and it just requires a lot of time and energy. And I would really love for us to be more thoughtful and invite us to be creative and how we create a space where people feel welcome, and then how do we invite people to come in? Because we can build a space and say, hey, come here, but unless we build a door and unless we build a road for people to actually get there, it's going to be quite difficult. So those were my suggestions. So I loved your idea earlier about like, can we talk about different platform? I know in Zoom you can do simultaneous interpretations. We've seen that in a lot of the town hall meetings. You can have ASL, you can have somebody in the background, and it's not disruptive, and you're really bringing people along in the process, and it isn't just an afterthought.
Yeah, that was one thing that struck me. If someone who spoke Spanish, for example, had a thought that they wanted to share with the board,
How do I know
what
when?
mechanism would we have for them to be able to do that at that listening session, right? And so, yeah, it's just good learning. And I know we put that together under a pretty good time crunch. So it's actually impressive that we were able to pull it off. And, you know, by the way, we did it this week, which was also a board meeting week. So might reconsider that next time too. But yeah, it's just a lot. I understand it's a lot, but I there's a lot of positives, and my hope is what the community sees is that the board is really serious about outreach to our community and providing opportunities from multiple different at multiple touch points for the community to share how our schools are doing and how they're experiencing. And there were some really thoughtful, great suggestions that I really appreciated too. So yeah, but I agree. Always learning that can happen.
Anything else?
I wanted to say a couple things about it.
Okay.
I feel like Michael said, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing where we weren't able to get the word out. And I also made a commitment that I was going to publicize, and I had some things happen in my own family that kind of distracted me from that. So making sure that we are going to those places where people are that we need to reach, all of those places, and publicizing that. And maybe, like you said, open comment period plus maybe a topic where you can have a more dynamic session, and maybe breakout rooms like Zoom rooms where there could be totally Spanish speaking, or there could be, different topics and then we rotate. They use this a lot in the fire recovery meetings as well. And then, so I think that was probably just publicizing it beforehand and making sure we're in the right places.
And just to clarify, so normally, typically, when OSBA facilitates these, they are 1.5 to 2 hours, and there is breakout sessions, and there is that. Unfortunately, we had a hard enough time scheduling it, and then there was a conflict with Pam Marsh's, so we did 1.5 hours. So I agree that it was, yes. So typically, and she has some great ideas, and so we can bring that up when we do that the next time.
I don't think it's bad to have an hour-long meeting.
No,
honestly.
I was just going to let you know that they
Yeah.
suggested that, and we just had to cut it off for the timeline. and I was worried that we were gonna, I felt like people always want to talk more, but I feel like we tried to push in so much. And I think that we want to hear so much from the community but I think the next one will be.
Oh, and I put the publicizing the questions in advance, like
Mhm.
what
On the agenda.
Sarah brought up, that maybe if people
that's
knew
a great
about those
idea.
things, then they would be able to see, I, I was, surprised that there wasn't hardly anybody saying positive things in that first part of the session. It was kind of crickets. I think it's because no one knew what was going to be asked at that meeting.
Yeah.
I know there's amazing things happening here, and those could have been in that meeting as well. So, yeah.
That's good
Which
feedback.
also shows like the population that chooses to show up, right? Like,
Right.
there's so much opportunity for us to really invite the community that really represents this school district.
Yeah.
The majority.
Do we, will we have an
Yeah.
opportunity to review any feedback we got from the survey?
Oh,
Have,
the
have,
survey.
have
Yeah.
we, has that started coming in?
I was going to close up with that, but that's
Okay,
perfect.
okay,
Thank you.
go ahead.
So the survey will be back she should have the results to us on Monday, I believe, or Tuesday. And I don't know, did we post them?
I think you said we were going to. No?
Or is the survey on social media? I know you have to,
Oh,
the
I meant on
survey
the
is kind of,
website.
the survey is kind of like you have to watch. So I think that's one thing that I would change the survey so you can fill out the survey no matter if you were able to attend and not have to watch, because the way she did the survey is like you had to have been there. So that's one thing that I would change in the past, because not everyone has the chance to, even if it's recorded, to watch an hour long and then fill out a survey. That's asking a lot of time commitment. So that's one thing that I would suggest. And then another thing that I was going to suggest as well, especially if we're going to do a fire recovery, is I'm not sure if all of our families have the access to the internet and to the laptops. And so if we maybe had some places that we knew a lot of families were at, then we could have something maybe out like by White City or Ashland, something where we know there's a big group of families that would be helpful to have like staff there to maybe assist them or have something set up. That's another idea that might be helpful to get people. If they only have to walk a few blocks and there's someone there that speaks their language that can assist them and get them set up, it might be helpful.
The feedback form or link or address is on the agenda, which
Okay.
is I think on the website as
Yes.
well.
Yeah, I think we posted the video and I think we were going to post a link for the survey as well.
So they wouldn't have to watch the entire in order to be part of the survey.
Correct, but the survey kind of is set up
Oh,
if you read the
I
questions,
understand.
the survey's kind of set up under the understanding that you watch that. And
Oh,
so
I understand.
someone
That
that
was my
didn't,
misunderstanding.
it may be confusing to them on what to fill out or can I fill out here? So I think the next time the survey.
I understand now.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay,
Okay, I'm throwing my 2 cents here.
please, Rick.
I thought it was terrific, and I hope we have more of them. Yeah, I'd love to see them in person.
Agreed.
But if whatever it takes, I'm glad we're doing it. I've been on the board 22 years, and I can reflect back on the times we've had audience participation, and they've been very rare. And this year we've had 2 that I can think of. And
You'll never forget that birthday, will you?
oh, what a party! Yeah.
Best birthday ever.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's yeah, I thought it was great, and I'm glad we're going to go ahead with more. So.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Anything else? Okay, thank you all. So the next meeting will be October 7th. Gives us a little bit of time. We will have the Accentuate the Positive, citizen comments, superintendent report, consent agenda. We have no action items. We will have facilities and bond update, financial update, legislation, OSBA, Almeda Fire Interdistrict Transfer Report, State Report Cards, Board Policy INB, Studying Controversial Issues, discussion about the JAB meeting, Division 22 standards, and I'm wondering if we want to put anything about the board retreat on there.
Oh, yeah, we should.
And the board retreat, sorry, Denise.
And maybe the board guiding principles, we had talked about
Yes,
approving them or adding them after the board retreat.
yes,
I have another question.
yes.
I'm not sure if there was a decision that was made in the last meeting. Are we still going to have an EDI update in the meetings?
We are, we did not put it on this one because there was no meetings or anything. And then that's something we're going to discuss at the board retreat. Do we need it? Do we want it at since DEI only meets once a month, do we want it every meeting or do we want it every other meeting? That's something to discuss, that we're going to discuss, but yes, thank you for noticing, and that we will be putting it, I think the first meeting of the month, we were going to put it on and do second, but that was only for the next 2 meetings because we were going to discuss it at the board retreat.
And this is a draft agenda, so I think we can, discuss that at the retreat and then have that moving forward. So we can still add to this.
And just to kind of housekeeping, we do this draft agenda and sometimes I think of more or something comes up, and then Brent and I usually meet a week before, and then we set the agenda, and then Denise sends out the board packet a day or 2. So if something comes up that you want to contact me and say, hey, please do, and you do have time.
We're gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I did see that there was like an item on the board retreat for us to have that discussion. I just didn't see it here, and I was wondering.
Yeah, we discussed DI, I think, last meeting, and then
And we have an item on the board retreat agenda to discuss adding items to the agenda. If a board member wants to
Right.
agendize something, we're going to discuss that at the retreat.
Yeah.
How to go about doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we just passed a policy about that as well, about agenda items. Okay.
I
And-
mean, if a board member
Right,
wants something
right,
on the agenda,
right.
what process do they need to do to make that happen?
We will talk about that.
Okay,
It's pretty
perfect.
simple.
Okay,
Well, at least
great.
what we have now, we can make it more complicated if you want.
No.
Anyways,
make things more
anything else before I adjourn the meeting? Thank you all that stayed online this whole entire time, and thank you all for tonight. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.